Camp is closed for the Philadelphia Eagles after Wednesday's practice. Zach Berman and I talk all about it and what happened yesterday. Coming up next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast on a Wednesday. Hi to Bo Wulf, Zach Berman. You will notice that we had teased Sheil Kapadia's presence on this episode. Either he's sick and is going to come back another time. We'll make that up, or he's just ducking us. But either way, we wish Sheil well. How are you, Zach?
I'm well. I can confirm Sheil's sick. Okay.
Well, how can you actually confirm it? I think this goes to a real reporting principle. Okay. You can't confirm he's sick.
Okay. Sheil said that he's sick.
Okay, you can confirm that Sheil says that
I am sorry
sick.
that I
you
take
didn't actually check up on it.
I take my friends at their word. Okay. Joya was sick last week. I believe Joya when she said she was sick.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, we've heard the nasal stuff from Julia. We know Julia is sick.
So, honestly, I don't know why Sheil would lie about being sick.
Neither do I. I think it's a 99% chance that he's sick, but I can't confirm it.
Okay. Sheil is sick. Sheil's not here today, and we will catch up with Sheil hopefully next week for a topic of Bo's choice, and looking forward to that. I'm doing well.
It may not be next week, but we will talk to Sheil again another time.
It may not be next week for a day and topic of Bo's choice. Yeah, training camp's finished and went quickly.
How was your vacation yesterday?
It was not a vacation yesterday. I was on assignment yesterday.
Oh, on assignment.
Yeah, I can confirm that. I was on assignment for...
Sure you are.
You know, I think that in this business, if you're not... I think your skills can atrophy if you're not working on, like, you know, if you're not refining them. And so I haven't written as many features in the past few months, and I want to get back on that horse, so to speak. And so I was working on a story that I'm excited to write. I got some good stuff. I felt invigorated by it, and yeah, it should be fun.
Okay. Well, it has been a busy couple days, Zach. The Eagles have closed training camp. You know, they were originally scheduled to have 3 practices this week. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday turned into a walkthrough. Tuesday became a practice, and then yesterday they canceled Thursday's practice, turned it into a walkthrough. So camp over a little bit sooner than expected, and we finally got it, Zach. I know you were waiting. Was Jalen Hurts going to be able to make it through the entire course of training camp without throwing an interception? The answer, resoundingly no, thanks to Darius Slay.
Yeah, Jalen said to Slay afterwards, it's about time. And so for those who were not at practice, Hurts, now he might have been sacked on the play. Bryce Huff came in there, but Hurts still threw it. He threw it across the middle where his intended target was Paris Campbell, and Darius Slay baited him into the throw and jumped in front and made the pick. And the defense, as they want to be during during training camp, they were excited, pumped up by the
How do you feel about, generally speaking, I feel like the defense has had more energy than the offense, especially over the past week. I think the defense has dominated the offense over the past week.
And by energy,
but like
you
vibe-wise, I feel like I'm getting a better vibe.
Tell me about vibes. I want to know about vibes.
You hate vibes.
I want to know about vibes. Tell me about vibes. Yes.
What do you want to know?
You say vibe-wise, so explain that to me. What are these vibes that you're perceiving?
Yeah, I think the defense seems like a more together unit.
So say that. Yeah.
Well, it means the same thing.
Just vibes is
maybe your vocabulary shouldn't atrophy, and you should learn what new words mean.
I'm aware of what vibes means, but it's ambiguous. You say their vibes are better, so I say how so?
Yeah, you have been around football teams for over a decade, Zach. Don't you get a sense sometimes of how the teams are together? Like, don't you get a sense of their vibes? Aren't you a reliable narrator about that?
Sure. Yeah, I feel like I agree. This defense has a certain energy, zeal to them, and that has
Oh yes, we shouldn't say vibes. We should say competitive zeal instead.
that has been apparent during the past week or two in particular. I would agree with that. How it compares to the offense, I think defense is naturally a more celebratory position during camp.
Fair.
Right? I mean, you're not seeing as many touchdown celebrations from the offense, but when there's a big play from the defense, a big stop, you'll see Eli Rick's finger wag. You'll see
he had a big day today, Eli Rick.
Yeah, when Perry Nickerson had the pick six the other day, you saw the defense running down the field with him. So you are correct there that there is a je ne sais quoi, like an energy to this defense. That's French.
Do you think that there is something to the defense has had a hard training camp because Vic Fangio wants them to play, and the offense has had sort of a very cushy camp. They haven't had to play in the preseason, and there's maybe a little bit of a tension between that. Like you guys are up in the 5-star resort. We're down here mucking and grinding, and we're the ones who are more ready for the regular season.
I don't believe that to be the case in terms of the impetus for it. I think it's more personality driven. Maybe that's right. That's one thing I can't confirm. I don't know if that's the reason for it. But I think you take on the personality of your leaders. You look at Jalen Hurts is not a demonstrative person, right? You look at some of the guys on defense who are setting the tone here. They're more demonstrative in terms of, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I mean, even, Brandon Graham, right? These are
a great day for Brandon Graham as well.
Yeah, 2 sacks.
He was all over the place.
I was chatting with him afterwards. Last training camp practice ever, 2 sacks.
Yeah, that's true.
He said, "You saw that?" I was like, "Yeah, I was watching." So, yeah, I think that's probably more what it is that you have personalities on defense who probably exhibit those vibes more so than Jalen. I don't see Jalen like doing the discount double check after a big pass or something like that. He's much more stoic in his demeanor.
Okay.
On the field, and the same thing now Lane Johnson's a colorful personality, but AJ Brown's never really been like he hasn't necessarily been demonstrative out there.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think he's the one who would be.
Okay.
I mean, remember he does the double point.
That's
he's
true.
He's the one.
That's
he
a good
punted
point.
a ball yesterday after a big catch downfield.
Fair.
I think he actually is
fair.
The demonstrative one.
Okay. Fair. That's fair. I agree with you there. I guess I should reserve it more to Jalen. Jalen's not necessarily like that.
But do you think that whether there is a tension between these two sides or not, that the defense is more ready for the regular season because they have done a little bit more? Or would you think the offense is
I don't think
better?
the game – no. As far as playing in games, I've tried to put it succinctly last week and the week before that, is that the Eagles want their players tackling, but they don't want their players getting tackled, right? So I think that's more why you're seeing defensive guys, and certainly Vic Fangio's a part of that as well. But I wouldn't necessarily say the defense is more ready for the season than the offense. What I will say is during the past week in particular, I have seen the defense outplay the offense, and that was not the case earlier this summer. And
to a significant degree,
yes.
I think.
And whether that's the result of progress from the defense, whether that's the result of stagnation from the offense, whether that's the result of injuries, it is clear, and it is somewhat concerning because I think you've outlined it better than most, that for the Eagles to be really good, their offense needs to be outstanding. Their defense just needs to be good, right? Like, if their defense is great and their offense is good, they're not a great team this year. I think the way they're built, their offense needs to be great.
Yeah, I mean, now, if it happened that they had the best defense in football, which is not going to, I don't expect, but then they could be fine. But yes, I think that the more likely path to success for them is for the offense to carry them. And by the way, you are watching the PHLY Eagles show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up, and find out why it is never ordinary at Bet365. Everybody's very excited. We have the Ospreys coming up tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Because Shields not here, we will still give out the Shields Dovebird of the Year Osprey Award at the end of today's show because we were planning on that, and you got to get it done before the Ospreys come. The other categories that are still open for voting, available if you are a diehard on allphly.com. Let's go to that super chat. Julia, speaking of the Ospreys, Fresh Prince wants to know, with practice being canceled tomorrow, will Zach appropriately wear a tux for the Ospreys tomorrow before his flight?
I will not wear a tux tomorrow. I will dress in. I will dress better than I would typically coming off the practice field.
Okay.
But I'm not wearing a tuxedo for the Ospreys. No. Are you wearing a tuxedo?
No, and I was with you until you sort of said for the Ospreys in a very demeaning way. I don't expect you to wear a tux, but
okay.
Every year we go through this, you demean, you talk down on the Ospreys.
I don't talk down.
You
on
absolutely
the Ospreys.
do. It's the highlight of the year for the sickos. I thought you cared about the customers.
You can confirm that.
Well, let's ask them. Also, I didn't say I was confirming it. I just said it.
Did they? No, you could say that you believe that to be the case. No,
I can say it.
The Ospreys are great. The Ospreys are an enjoyable few hours every year, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your creativity exhibited in a very productive way.
Okay, let's double down here on Jalen Hurts and your opinion.
Yeah, the YouTube commenters were not happy with you yesterday.
What else is new? Yeah, I'm sorry. This is not the Pollyanna show. If you want to just hear that Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the league and the Eagles are going to go 17-0, watch a different show. Okay?
Please watch our show no matter what.
You want cheerleaders, go somewhere else. We're telling you what we see.
Yes. Okay.
Like, I'm sorry. That was a buzzkill. Yeah, okay. Jalen Hurts didn't throw an interception. He was sacked instead. Give me a break. Grow up.
They should grow up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Proceed.
Your take on the arc of Jalen Hurts' summer. I think we both agree that he looked very good at the beginning of camp, as you said earlier today. The offense, especially, did not look so great over the past week. I think he has had trouble getting the ball out on time. Some of that may be because there have been backups along the offensive line. Some of it may be because the defensive line is just killing him. What is your takeaway on the arc of Jalen Hurts' summer?
You framed it well there. I thought the first week and a half he was particularly strong. I thought even the New England week, he had a good practice against New England. Not his best, but a good practice. And I think overall he's had a strong summer. I would agree these past few days haven't been as good as earlier in camp. I tend to put that more on terms of the pressure in his face, which I pin more on the offensive line. Now, the offensive line was in there today. Lane missed, I think, the last team drill. He was out. Fred Johnston was in there. But otherwise, yeah, pressure is something that this is going to be a big question. Jalen wears the red jersey during camp. We saw in New England pressure in his face. We've seen this week pressure in his face. How does he respond when there's unscouted looks, when he's under duress, things of that nature? We don't have a firm answer to that. And I do think if the spring was bad, as we said, like I came away from the spring saying it's only the spring. I used the example of the rough draft, but I did acknowledge that he did not play the way they needed him to play in the spring. I thought the first 2 weeks of camp, he was lights out. I don't think he's been bad the past week. I don't think he's been lights out. I think overall, I would give him, I'm a generous grader, as my students at Colorado State could tell you right now, although they are good students and earned the grades that they received. I would probably give him B plus, A minus, probably A minus for the summer. I think he's had a good summer. I said on Anthony's show, the interception-less streak, I don't think it's inflated. I don't think it tells the whole story of things. But in Nick Wright, because that question was posed to me on Anthony's show. Nick Wright's a friend of mine. I went to college with him.
Good boy.
I won't say a bad word about Nick Wright. I think Nick Wright's wrong in this case.
Ooh, good turn of phrase.
And I would tell Nick that because up until yesterday, I was not at yesterday's practice. I've seen every throw Jalen's made this summer. I saw every throw today. I don't think he's been I don't think he's been too cautious with it. I think there have been times when he's taken shots downfield. I think he is taking what the defense gives him there. I don't think it's suggestive of the way the defensive backfield is, because when they played against the Patriots, the Eagles had 2 interceptions in practice and then an interception in the first quarter of the game. So I do think this defense can force turnovers. I think Jalen's played well this summer. And is it like the best training guy? I heard you on the show yesterday because I watched the show back, and you said you don't think he played as well as he did 2 summers ago. I would agree with that. I think he looks better than he did last summer, and I think he looks better than he did 3 summers ago when I did not think he had a good summer.
Let's unpack the things that I think he has done well and the things that maybe have been a little bit disappointing. Yeah. The downfield throws along the sidelines, those go balls, he's still awesome at those, as you would expect. That's one of his best attributes as a passer. We saw it today. He threw a beautiful pass to Devontae Smith in relatively tight coverage from Keely Ringo for a touchdown. He's done it to A.J. Brown a bunch. That is still very much a part of the offense, and I think needs to be, and he's very good at that. I think I have been encouraged by his willingness to throw the ball to running backs and other guys in the offense.
Yes.
Yesterday there was a play over the middle of the field that was a bookmark play for me. It was like third read, but out on time over the middle of the field in tight coverage to Grant Calcaterra. Like, the willingness to throw that ball over the middle of the field especially is something that we haven't always seen from him. I think that is encouraging. The same thing about the running backs that we have talked about. I said it to Rich yesterday. I feel like I've been a little bit surprised that we haven't seen a lot of running back screens, but we have seen a lot of Saquon out of the backfield.
Sure.
And he's getting the ball to him on time. All of that stuff is encouraging. The things that have not worried me, but have not necessarily checked every box are sometimes the ball is not out on time. Sometimes he is scrambling around back there and not getting the ball out. And it's hard to say whether that is Jalen's not seeing it or the offense is not giving him enough answers. I don't know that I expect, given Jalen and Cam Jurgens having to diagnose stuff pre-snap together for the first time ever, working with Kellen Moore in a game for the first time, I don't really expect them to like hit the ground fully running necessarily. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for this offense to gel. Now they'll have some surprises, right? And the Packers defense is not the best in the world, so they can still put up points. But I think maybe my bigger concerns are less about Jalen over the course of the summer than the offense itself dominating.
You bring up a good point. And when I look at that performance,
I should also very quickly add, on the positive note, he looks spry.
Yeah,
he looks better athletically than he did.
And that's
last
what I was about. The reason I paused is because you said there's times when he's scrambling back there, and I'm pausing because I don't know if that's a bad thing, right? Like I want to see him scramble. Part of what will make this offense work is playing off schedule, because Jalen can extend plays, because they have wide receivers who can make plays downfield. I want to see Jalen not just play within the 2.8 seconds or 2.3 seconds. I'm trying to get the exact number down that Doug Nussmeier and Kellen Moore prescribed for him. But I do think that there are times when you want that ball out quickly, and that has not been the case as often this past week and a half than it was 3 weeks ago. Now, your point about him throwing to the backs is accurate. He had a drive today and he referenced this after practice, when every pass was to Kenny Gainwell. Mm-hmm. And Gainwell was money on that play, including the touchdown. I think of...
Yeah, sprawling catch. Very nice. I think that he was probably landed out of bounds, but it was still a really impressive catch from Gainwell.
Yeah, they have this play in the tight red zone where this was the one not on the river side, but on the opposite side. What was the city side? When they have the running back in motion, and then he kind of comes across the formation, and he's open there, and they've run that a few times this summer, and Jalen identifies it right away, and it works. And so I think that he is diversifying where he's throwing the ball. Now, I don't want to go overboard with that, because the best play the Eagles have is that slant to A.J. Brown. It is money every time.
Yeah. Or the out. That's what makes it. That's what makes it work. Is that sometimes he gets the choice there sometimes.
So,
I mean, A.J. Brown is like it's his binky. Like, he is the pacifier for the offense, because if things are going wrong, all they need to do is just single up A.J. Brown, get him, and it's money. It is. Like that's the thing that they can always go to.
Is that what you guys called in the Wulf household, the binky?
No, I've never called it the binky.
Okay. We called it a pacifier.
Yeah, I called it a pacifier too.
Okay.
But
you said binky.
well, yeah. I mean, people use that. I don't know.
No,
I don't call it that.
Okay. I was trying to put together. I thought you said pinky at first, and
binky.
Binky.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's the staple play, and it's the type of thing where this is a bad reference, but O.J. Simpson when he was at USC, student body left, student body right, and I think John McKay was the coach at the time. And he said, the ball's not that heavy. Like, just keep giving him. There's no rule against it. And, that's the play. You run until they stop it.
From OJ to AJ.
From OJ to AJ. Yep.
Well, we can only hope that AJ has as decorated a career as OJ Simpson.
Of a football career, yes. I concur.
You know what? One thing you can say about OJ Simpson, Julia? Never ordinary. Let's talk about our friends at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream over 780,000 events each year. That's a lot of events. Early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 different sports. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe every sport should be epic. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 to sign up, deposit $10, and claim your offer. They've also got boosts. They don't do ordinary. Over 10,000 boosts every month. And they boost specific markets you're winning and even parlays. Keep an eye out for their custom PHLY bets and boost. They've also got same-game parlays where you get a little extra incentive and a nice little payout if you hit your bet. So, bottom line, download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. And check out our boosts to see why it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Bada bing, bada boom.
We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate is not to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The reason I was looking at my watch just now is because I was trying to see how long it took you to read the previous advertisement. And the reason I wanted to know that is because in the time that it took for you to read that, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Think about that. That's what's
Congratulations to those 23.
That's what's great about Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global visitors, monthly visitors, that is, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find a quality candidate fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to recent Indeed data. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/allcity. Just go to Indeed.com/allcity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/allcity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
From OJ to AJ to EJ, Zach, let's take a look at which Eagle is heating up or cooling off with our Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. And cooling off, frozen, is CJ Uzomah, released by the Eagles today to make room for Jason Poe. They needed some help on the third-team offensive line. CJ Uzomah, I think heading into camp, was ticketed as the front runner to make the roster as the second or third tight end, the blocking guy of the backups. And I think what is encouraging here, my takeaway, yes, this is good news for E.J. Jenkins, who has returned to practice and has been working with the ones in 12 personnel with the twos as a solo tight end. I think he has a solid shot to make the roster. But my big picture takeaway here, Zach, we can trust what we have seen over the course of camp. The Eagles see what we see, right? Like C.J. Uzomah had a bad camp. They're not keeping him just because they thought heading into camp he was going to have a roster spot. And as we try to predict what the 53-man roster is going to look like, that is my big takeaway. Trust your eyes.
You're absolutely right. Our eyes spoke volumes here. Or they can't speak. Our eyes don't speak. But
That's okay.
our eyes saw the story here.
They sure blinked a lot.
C.J. Uzomah did not have a good summer. Clear that's the case. And it's what we talked about with James Bradbury last week. If there's a veteran you're not going to keep, release him now. What's interesting to me about this timing is that the Eagles are banged up at tight end. Now, Dallas Goedert has an oblique injury, did not practice today. Goedert was not going to play Saturday anyways.
Sure.
Albert Okwuegbunam has an abdominal injury, an ab injury. He has not played for a bit. Now, Grant Calcaterra is back at practice. He's kind of entrenched as the number 2 tight end right now, barring any type of transaction. So really, you're looking at this game here as a showcase game for E.J. Jenkins on Saturday, assuming Alberto doesn't play. Maybe Alberto's back, but if Alberto doesn't play, they don't have a lot of depth tight end numbers. They didn't replace they did not replace C.J., like you said, with another tight end. So they have your Fultz and you have your
Armani Rogers.
So they got Fulch. Sorry,
Fulch.
Not Markel.
Fulch.
Yeah. So they have 3 tight ends here. I think we're going to see a heavy dose of E.J. Jenkins. I think E.J. Jenkins is the 3rd best tight end on this roster, based on what we've seen this summer. I'm not convinced I'm not convinced E.J. Jenkins will be the 3rd tight end on the team. I think the Eagles can carry 2 potentially on 53 when they cut to 53. I think they could seek to make a trade to add someone. Grant Calcaterra has had a good summer, a solid summer. I don't think he's like the best number 2 tight end you could have. So I would continue to watch the Eagles monitoring this position.
Do you think Alberto has a shot to make the team?
No. I was talking about depth for this.
No, I'm asking a separate question.
Well, here, I'll say this. Alberto, the roster...
I think there are some people in their beat core who are going to have him on the roster.
Well, the rostering of Alberto during the past year is kind of interesting. The Eagles traded to get him because they didn't think he would get the waiver wires. They let Christian Ellis go, as we documented and you documented so colorfully on this show, because they wanted to keep him on the roster. Then they put him on IR, and then his contract's up. He has no contribution to the team. We do our, what's that game, Flu World Order?
Yep.
We do a Flu World Order.
It was like 19 or something like that.
Both of us assume, like, this guy's not coming back. And he's the first guy they signed. Right?
First thing they did. First piece of business.
So clearly, I mean, I don't know if it's Jason Michael. I don't know if it's Howie Roseman. I don't know if it's Nick Sirianni. There's some Albert Okwuegbunam. Maybe it's Matt Russell, who was in Denver when they drafted him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he would carry a big heavy influence if that's what it is.
Guy. So I don't think he's going to be on the 53. I think
if Albert O is on the initial 53, the Eagles are not making the playoffs.
Well, okay. Well, I wouldn't go that far.
No, that's true because because that would be ridiculous. It would be as if they do not care about what they have seen this summer. It would be insane for him to make that. Not only is he injured, he hasn't done anything.
I agree with you there. And I don't want to be just like everyone's 53. Everyone has a different process for putting it together. Sometimes you kind of confine your idea to like the players on the roster. But if there's a position the Eagles can seek to upgrade, like I said, they can go light on the cutdown day and then add to it thereafter.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there might be some mechanics where they keep 2 to start. I mean, I like E.J. Jenkins. I don't think that they are losing sleep over whether E.J. Jenkins gets claimed or not.
So just to give everybody a sense of the timeline here, because we are talking, is this guy going to make it? Is this guy not going to make it? And we are getting close to it at this point. It's Wednesday, August 21st today. Next Tuesday, the roster needs to be cut to 53. Okay, then waivers is players clear waivers the following day. You make your claims. That's Wednesday. So when the Eagles return to practice on Wednesday, they should have either waiver claims or a practice squad put together. And that's really when you get a sense of how that team starts to look. I would imagine, though, that if there's a position the Eagles were trying to trade for, this weekend is when you see that happen. Now, it doesn't help the Eagles in that sense that they have a late preseason game. I think typically your final preseason game, you prefer that on a Thursday. Mm-hmm. This preseason game is on a Saturday.
I can't remember the last time I had a Saturday game.
No, I actually...
They're usually always stacked on Thursday.
I got to say, and I'm very excited for this wedding this weekend. When I RSVP'd for the wedding...
You assumed it was going to be
I assumed there was no game. So I assumed there was no game. And that's why, if you remember,
a tough week for you, missing a practice and a game.
The practice I missed for an assignment, but yeah, it is. No, it wasn't. I have pictures on my phone. I can show you. Okay, I have text in my inbox here. I can show you. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, this weekend's game. That's tough for me to miss. I have. It's tough for me. I've never missed a home game in 13 years.
Something tells me, Zach, Sunday morning, the sun will come up and you will be breathing.
Well,
everything will be okay.
I could say my lovely wife, Emily, the point she always makes is they play the game without you there, right? That's what she's like, you're not that important. Like, you can miss a game. They're still going to play without you.
It's also the third preseason game. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, but who you are some of the time is who you are all of the time. That said, I'm very excited for this wedding this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've bounced around a little bit. We've talked about the most important player on the team and then, the third tight end, which is fine. That's part of the whole deal. Tell me your general takeaways from the arc of the camp on defense. What are your expectations?
So I believe more in this pass rush than I did at the start of camp.
I agree with that.
Bryce Huff has had a better week and a half. I said one of my takeaways from New England and the New England game was Bryce Huff, and then he followed it up. He's getting to the quarterback a little bit more. You're seeing that. Now, part of it playing against a banged-up offensive line, I imagine helps. But I feel better about this pass rush. I think Jalen Carter has had a spectacular summer. I've been really impressed with Jalen Carter.
Puked today.
What's that?
Puked today.
Yeah, you and Jimmy are all over the puke.
I mean, you're watching practice and a guy's throwing up on the field. How do you miss that? It's pretty interesting.
That's true. So I've been really impressed with him this summer. I'm still trying to figure out the linebackers. I know there's a lot of buzz right now that the Eagles solved their linebacker situation.
Wait, what buzz is that?
Oh, there was a radio show yesterday I was listening to where the emphasis was like Howie nailed it this year. And
what? What are we talking about?
I mean, that's literally how it was presented.
Well, maybe stop listening to everything.
Well, that's for another day. We can discuss that. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the linebacker situation. There's a part like Zach Bond. I know they love the physicality. I don't necessarily see it from like an on the field perspective. I think Nakobe Dean's played better than him during the past week. I think Devin White and Nakobe Dean's their best linebacker combination. But there's a lot of unknown about the linebackers.
I do think that their linebackers are much better now than they were a year ago. I think they're much
blasphemy.
Deeper. Why is that blasphemy? Well, I get it. I get what you're saying, but they had one good linebacker last year, and Christian Ellis.
Yes.
This year, they're much deeper. I mean, even Oren Burks, who returned to practice today, and it's going to be hard, I imagine, for him to make the roster given how much time he's missed. I thought he looked pretty good today. He's working, with the twos and the threes, and between Devin White and Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Oren Burks and even Ben Van Sumeren, that is a much deeper group of guys who could theoretically give you competent play than what they had last year.
Which Zach do you like better, Bond or Cunningham?
I mean, probably Cunningham because he was a linebacker. But I have been pleasantly surprised with Zach Bond, given my expectations.
Who do you think's played better this summer, Nakobe Dean or Zach Bond?
I actually would say Bond on the whole,
really?
But I think that you're right that over the past week, Nakobe Dean has been more impactful.
And do you think Devin White's been the best linebacker on the team this summer? Or do you think it's just that he's out there the most?
He is. I mean, he's certainly the most athletic. It's just, I mean, it's the hardest position to judge
Sure.
of any position during training camp because the level of physicality is different. You don't know what their responsibilities are. It's very difficult. But I think they are much deeper here than they have been in years past. And I mean, they continue to rotate. They continue to search for the right combinations. I guess White and Dean would be my guess. I think I would agree with you, but I think there will probably be some kind of role for Saquon early too.
So I was having this conversation with somebody today. Do you think there's going to be a situation where the two starters in Brazil at linebacker, if they have two starters out there, are not the two linebackers who play the most? Well, and here, let me frame it this way. Do you think the first snap could be White and Bond, but then when we look at the snap counts the next morning or afternoon on True Media, or that night on True Media, we'll see that it's Nakobe Dean outpacing Zach Bond?
I think my guess is Fangio wants to have a tandem and wants to do less rotating at linebacker. And so I think who he has on the field early is probably who's going to play the most, but I don't feel wedded to that. But that's my guess. What about you?
Yeah, I do think that's what he wants. It still surprises me that we see Bond with the first team every day this summer. It's been Bond, correct?
To start.
That's my point.
Yeah.
The start. So we could take that what we will. Now, behind them, I like the secondary a lot, or I like the corners a lot. I think they have 5 corners, or they have 4 corners right now that I'd be real comfortable with. I said 5 because I like Cooper DeJean. I haven't seen enough from Cooper DeJean in practice to tell you that. But they have 5 guys that I feel good about. I feel good about. I mean, I think Slay's had a good camp.
I think so too.
You know, and I thought Slay's day today, we talked about the interception, but also he had a pass breakup down the right sideline, played A.J. Brown. He's still Slay. He hasn't lost that step from what I've seen.
Yet.
Yet? Or yes? Yet. Okay. I like Ringo more than Rodgers. I've talked to people I respect who think it's the other way around. I think Ringo's played better for the reason that you mentioned, which is Ringo doesn't get beat over top. Ringo gets beat in front of him, and I'd rather someone who gets beat in front of me than gets beat over the top.
Although, to be fair, he did get beat over the top today by Devontae Smith.
Yes.
That was yeah. But generally, I agree with that, yeah.
I look at Quinyon Mitchell. Really impressed with him. We discussed that on our show on Monday, and I think Quinyon Mitchell's going to start on the outside. And then I'm bullish on DeJean whenever that comes. By the way, Cooper DeJean's going to play this weekend.
Okay.
He said he'll play Saturday, so we'll pay attention to that. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing in this game is the way DeJean looks. And then I really like Eli Ricks still. Like I'm not ready to give up on Eli.
I think he is too good to cut.
Yes.
I think if you find reasonable value in return, I'm
sure
willing to trade him just because you're so deep. But yeah, I don't think that they would cut a player as talented as I don't know. He's a good player. He's a good young player.
He's got upside. He's got legit size, and I think he's wired the right way.
One snap today. One snap that caught my eye was with the first team nickel defense. It was, your starting safeties, Reed Blankenship and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. It was Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, and it was Avonte Maddox in the slot. And Avonte Maddox has not spent a lot of time in the slot over the past week and a half because C.J. Gardner-Johnson has been dealing with his injury, and he's been almost exclusively playing safety. When they're in dime, he's out there sometimes. But I think that could be the opening lineup week 1.
To get Avonte on the field.
To keep to keep Quinyon Mitchell outside.
I disagree, but
who does Vic Fangio trust more, Avonte in the slot or Isaiah Rodgers outside? I don't know.
When you frame it like that, it's interesting. I still think. I think Ringo's better, but we've seen Isaiah Rodgers on the outside first up repeatedly throughout the past 2 weeks. Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's what's fun about a new guy. We don't know. right? Like we don't know what his MO is. Is he going to completely flip this over the course of the next week and a half after like having the same guys start most of practice? I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to have a new. He's a very fun supporting character in the drama that is like everybody's favorite TV show of the Eagles. Like everybody knows the main characters, but for this new season to have this new guy introduced who is just this like crusty guy and is always telling the truth, you don't know necessarily what to expect. Great addition to just the drama of the Eagles.
I agree. Personality. He's much more compelling than Kellen Moore, even though Kellen Moore is so interesting from how that offense is going to look. Before we get to the ads, I just want to know safety. How do you feel about safety?
In what sense?
I mean, if CJ's healthy, you feel good about CJ and Reed Blankenship. Do you think Reed Blankenship is better as a 3, and that eventually that's Sidney Brown playing safety? Do you think?
I think long term, eventually it's Sidney Brown.
No, but this season, I'm saying.
But yeah, I think I would be surprised if down the stretch it's not C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Sidney Brown. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Sidney Brown both have to prove that they can stay healthy. Yeah. But I think Reed Blankenship is a good second safety. I think he's reliable. I think if he's the 5th best player of your 5 defensive backs in nickel, I think you're in good shape.
And Turkey's that Sidney Brown is on the 53.
This is what's going to swing.
So don't give it away. Yeah.
I lean towards Pup right now, but it's like 45-55. I don't know what to go off because we haven't seen him working off to the side. You know, we haven't seen him start to do anything.
You're right.
And then the other thing that's going to trip people up is the new IR rules. Like Trevor Keegan is all of a sudden injured.
Yep.
Is he a guy you put on injured reserve? Right? Does somebody else get hurt during the game on Saturday that we're not even considering and they get put on IR? And those now you can put a guy on IR on the cutdown day and still they can be designated as a return.
And I stand by what I said that I think Caden Stearns is going to be on IR. And you disagree with me. You think he's just a flat out cut?
I don't know.
And then put on practice squad.
If there are other guys who get injured, you can only use 2 IR guys. Then I don't think they're going to worry about Caden Stearns.
You can only use 2 ahead of the 53.
Right.
You can do more afterwards.
Yeah, I understand.
You can carry a guy and then
Yeah, I don't think they're going to carry him.
No, I think they're going to designate him for IR for one of those 2 spots.
But what I'm saying is if they have other guys who are even remotely injured that they can use that spot on instead of Caden Stearns, they will do that.
Okay. I think there's a lot of I think they like Caden Stearns in that building. That's a very educated viewpoint.
I believe you.
Yeah.
But also
it sounds very cocky, a very educated viewpoint. That's informed speculation. That's a better way of framing it.
But the guy just got waived twice. I think they can probably trust that if they injure him, he will make it through, and then they can sign him to the practice squad or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think they want to keep him in the building, but I don't know that they need to use an IR spot on him.
Monday's show is going to be fun. I assume Monday we're talking about the 53-man roster.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah.
Okay.
But what are we going to talk about on Tuesday?
Well, Tuesday it's happening. It's dynamic. I
understand.
It's like there's cuts around the league. Things are
I totally agree.
Tuesday's like a free agency show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I got my text rocking. Yeah.
Got your texts rocking
on Tuesday. Yeah. We'll be doing the show. Maybe you're
going to be breaking stuff.
I'm working on it.
We're going to Zach.
For sure.
Love that.
For sure. It's just...
That guy's pretty cool. You know what else is cool? Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And we talk about it all the time, the best customer service in the business. If your shades go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. And if you don't love your shades, you can exchange for a new pair worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back, with personal and fast support. Got my Shady Rays right here. One of 3. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Saturday night, I'll be at this wedding, thinking about the Eagles game that day, but also having fun with some old friends. And I'm going to go to the bar, and I'll order Emily her drink, and then I will say, you know what I'll have? I'll have a nice cold Miller Lite.
Oh.
Because a lot has changed over the years, and one thing that hasn't is the great taste of Miller Lite. Another thing that hasn't is that it's less filling. So what is the best thing about the original light beer? It feels like I've been debating it with these college friends since, well, it says here in 1975, but for us, I went to college in 2000. I graduated in 2008. So since like 2006, 2007, 2008, we still haven't settled it. What you love about Miller Lite is that it has the great taste and it's less filling. So which one's better? Great taste, less filling. It's also the memories and the moments that you associate with enjoying a Miller Lite, like a nice August wedding in California. Looking forward to that. And I would
Is the wedding at SoFi?
It's not in SoFi. No, it's in Pasadena.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get a Rose Bowl trip in there.
Heyo.
And you know what? I'll tell my friends at the wedding, we don't have to decide. It's actually both great taste and less filling. That's what's great. Miller Lite keeps it simple, undebatable quality. Great taste, only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away anything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. It's a light beer that tastes like beer. It's less filling and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975. You don't need to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLYBirds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Let's check out some of these super chats. Got a couple in the bank here. YTube wants to know who was the most shocking player cut to get to 53. I'm guessing he's asking for who could be the most shocking one this year, most realistic.
Someone asked me that today at practice. What's your answer for that? Well, you don't want to give away the secret.
Biggest surprise potential cut? Let's see. Potential. I mean, Paris Campbell doesn't count, does he?
No.
Okay.
Does Bradbury count?
No.
Okay. Anaya Smith?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that
5th round pick?
But that's sort of expected at this point, right? Marlon Tuipulotu, like, is that a shock?
Yeah. I would have said CJ Uzama if I was on the show yesterday and you asked this.
You would have said, but you would have thought that was a shock?
Well, people were penciling him in as the second or third tight end.
I think, like, if you're talking about a real shock, no, because even then you would trade the guy. I mean, there's not really anybody. There's no veteran who's like you'd be saving a lot of money cutting, right? Zach Bond, like that could be the shock.
Yeah, that would be a little surprising. Keep a guy in first team all summer and then cut him. Yeah,
but yeah, I don't think there is a real. It would be more about the people on the team. Is there one who comes to mind for the big shock who did get cut?
For my time covering the team? Well, Jeremiah Trotter, this wasn't my time covering the team, but Jeremiah Trotter was cut in 2007, and that was a big surprise back then. During my time covering the team, I would say it was very close, as I've written, as I've documented in 2014, Brandon Graham. That was one I was monitoring closely, and I remember being at the beer garden on South Street.
Flex.
When I got a text that Travis Long is going to miss the season. And I was like, oh, my gosh. What does this mean? Because I knew how high they were on Travis Long. And it meant they kept Brandon Graham.
You wonder what it was about Travis Long that made Chip Kelly think he was better than Brandon Graham.
Probably the frame. He's long.
Yeah. The pigment.
I don't think it was that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another super chat from Jalen All Sicko Dio Mad Day. Sprees. Can we buy and donate memberships for non-members to join and vote on the Ospreys on day 5 of recovering from retina reattachment?
Oh,
Wow.
I'm wishing you all the best.
Yeah, good luck. You don't see a lot of that. Retina reattachment. God, I hope you're okay, my man. Just because that you can vote for the other people. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know where to go. That's tough. Good for you. And then Chase Daniel Plainview wants to know, does Kevin Patullo have the same role in the offense, Zach?
Yes. Now, I think one thing during the offseason, from what I understood, he was kind of like the go-between between the old scheme and the new scheme, right? And he's still Nick Sirianni's right-hand man, but this is Kellen Moore's offense. So I imagine he's still involved in helping with the play design, but yeah, it's Kellen Moore's offense. So it's the same role. It was somewhat an ambiguous role.
Officially passing game coordinator.
Yeah, officially,
right.
and assistant head coach or associate head coach, I think he is.
I think associate is right, and
because,
Jamal Singleton is assistant.
Yeah, but it's actually an interesting day for Kevin Patullo to come up.
Why is that?
It's August 21st. Do you remember last August 21st?
Well, was that when I had
you wrote the story August 21st last year?
Well, I think I wrote the story like a month earlier.
The story ran August 21st last year.
Yeah. Why do you know that?
Just, I'm good with dates. Yeah.
That is a date that's on your mind?
That's a date that I remember. August 21st last year. I just remember.
There must be a reason.
There's
to that.
no. There's no. I.
Was there some? Was it because you were starting to think about this job?
Oh, I was very much in the like.
But I know. But so why is that specific date on your mind? That's wild.
I just remember August 21st last year. That's all. So
there must be something you're not saying.
No, I looked it up to confirm, and the story came out August 21st. August 21st last year, Bo wrote a really good piece about Kevin Patullo and his daughter. Yeah, it was a good piece. Highly recommend. It was for The Athletic. Bo did an outstanding job.
I feel like this is one of the more surprising things I've learned from you. You keep peeling back the layers. This is good stuff. There must be some other reason that you're not saying.
No, I actually saw in your photos from last year. You know,
okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you often do have the this is what happened a year ago photos.
Exactly. Each morning I kind of see So
all right. Well, that makes sense.
There was like a screenshot that I posted from the story that was in my photos from last year.
Why didn't you just say that in the beginning?
I was trying to make it more about you than about me. I was trying to make it how you wrote this story, great story last year.
Yeah, but I mean, when you say this is the anniversary of a story you wrote, nobody's thinking about me.
I hope they're thinking about Kevin Patullo and his daughter. So it was a good piece.
Lauren Patullo still on the rise as a junior golfer. Zach, we do have.
Is that something you do, by the way? Do you look in your?
I don't.
A year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
I don't. Sometimes I accidentally click on like the montages. Those are fun, but no, I don't.
Okay.
I don't look at that.
It's fun. It's a fun thing to do each morning.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
That's okay. You get so much done in the morning, Zach. I'm impressed.
That's the best time to get things done. You know what I don't do in the morning?
Sleep.
Sit around. Like I don't like the idea of just like laying in bed for 15 extra minutes doing nothing. Like I know people do that. I'm like, why would you just waste this time? This is because
you're tired.
No, your brain's at its best right then in the morning.
Well, your brain is.
I think most people
Mine is not. I promise you that.
Okay. Yeah, you should you should be rejuvenated and ready to roll in the mornings.
That is you.
Okay, that's me.
That is not everybody.
Okay.
It's actually funny. We have this in our.
Zach, I love you. You need help. Wow.
We love this in our house. It's funny because Rachel is like you. She's up and ready to go.
Yes.
And when she gets tired at night, that's it. She goes she will fall asleep on the couch.
Yeah.
Jane is the exact same way. Jane runs out of her room, at 5:45 or 6:15 in the morning, and she is ready for the day. She's dancing and all that. Me and Casey are both the opposite. It is we both it takes a big effort to get us out of bed. And it's funny just how the kids have followed suit exactly.
How the personalities, yeah.
Yeah, Casey's.
So how long do you sit in bed after you wake up?
Well, it depends. Like, I mean, if I have to get up in the morning, I just get up.
Okay.
But, this morning I had the house to myself. I think I woke up at like 7 and then was probably had my, like looking at my phone for 10, 15 minutes. I don't know. Yeah. We're getting the brain started.
Okay. I'm not
It's
judging.
up till 2 o'clock working on the Ospreys.
I can't wait. It's your creativity's unmatched with this.
Speaking of the Ospreys, we do have a bit of business at hand, Julia. We have the Shields Dove Bird of the Year award to met out. That's okay. I can just tell you the categories or the nominees. The nominees for the Shields Dove Bird of the Year. Of course, it's weird to continue to give this out when he's not a part of the show anymore. But the Ospreys, that's such a storied.
He's always a part of the show.
It's a storied tradition. You can't just get rid of categories. Like that doesn't seem appropriate. So we have the nominees. First, creatine. Given the swole shield.
Oh yes, that's true.
He must be using something to get those muscles. We have cousin Jeff Hoffman. He's got those Phillies pods. So we got Jeff Hoffman. We've got Jessica Kapadia. Now this one is important because I cannot confirm or deny that I was slipped a 20 to make sure that she was nominated as a make good for him forgetting the year that they were married, but that's nice to see that Jessica Kapadia is nominated. Also, Tyrese Maxey and Sean Syed. Who are you going with, Mr. Berman?
So can you explain to me what the Dove Bird of the Year is?
For the 6th time, yes, I believe I can. That's the person who that's their person. Jonathan Gannon was your Dove Bird of the Year last year. It's like the person who they are most associated with.
Yeah, Jessica Kapadia for sure. But if we're going beyond that, if I think about this past year, I got to go with Sean Syed because I think Sean and Shield do a terrific job together. And I was introduced to Sean's work through Shield. But you got to go with your wife. So.
Yeah, I mean, plus they didn't invite us to play pickleball. What was that about, Zach?
But are you a pickleball player?
Well, Sean and Shield played, but we didn't get an invitation.
They're allowed to have a friendship outside of us.
Debatable.
All
right. Well, the Osprey for Shields Dove Bird of the Year goes to Jessica Kapadia. Long overdue that Jessica Kapadia
shout out Jessica.
Wins an Osprey. Long overdue. Congratulations to Jessica. I hope that gets Shield out of the doghouse. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, from practice today?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, let's run through it.
Just want to say Saquon Barkley did not participate in team drills today. My understanding, not injury related, more of a load management day. Although, as I heard from you yesterday, and you had great practice observations yesterday. He went off of practice. He got hurt a bit late in practice, but my understanding is this is not injury related.
I think that actually was not in my practice notes. So you've been reading other practice notes.
But okay. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a backhanded compliment.
It was on the show yesterday, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Trevor Keegan left yesterday as well, and also was down. Anything else? What's the one thing you will remember about this summer, Zach? Training camp wise.
Oh, that's a really good question. Training camp wise,
become a diehard, and you can vote on the Ospreys and read all that good stuff. That doesn't include Saquon Barkley missing the end of practice yesterday.
Probably Jalen's progress from the spring to the summer jumps out. AJ Brown, the way he looked, that's a big takeaway. But I think when I look back at the summer, I'll think of the continued progress of the show and the trajectory we're on.
Okay. I'll probably remember the two Bo Wulf camp crushes, E.J. Jenkins and Thomas Booker. So that'll be fun. All right. Everybody get ready. Gird your loins, because tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we return with the 7th annual Osprey Awards. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman. Will there be special guests? Who's to say? An exciting, very exciting Ospreys coming up tomorrow. We look forward to that. And until then, enjoy your time. Get some sleep. Make sure you spring out of bed. Don't waste that time, because tomorrow is Ospreys Day. We'll talk to you then. And as always, we love you.
all city like the mayor.